where we know when we go further into this man, it gets a bisschen schwacher, thinner. And over here it looks like that fakat. The stomach v'yafala. So that's a chaystaka that is the stomach v'yafala. What does that mean?
For most of a holech.
Most of a holech, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's very interesting. The pasuk by Pashas Miketz, or Sheikh's this is Pasha, but this musig that you see that Pari was looking for Ish Nava and V'chacham to know what to do with the next years of Shnas HaSoiva, and then it was going to be Shnas HaRav. So he needed this smart, intelligent person what to do with the food. You need a smart person. You need someone that's taiglach, that can know and take care of the food and put it away and store it. You need it Ish Nava and V'chacham, because the Teretz is that when you're in Shnas HaSoiva, you don't see the future. It's impossible. You can't see the future. Mezatnish, you cook nish, mezatnish. It's too hard to see the future. So you had to have someone who's smart to realize that this is not going to stay forever. You know, everyone's sitting here, and everyone that's listening, and it has seichel. We're not living forever. We're not here forever. We're not in this world forever. So I understand, we like to have our geld, our panosa, for yourself, for your retirement, for your children. So you put away money. But there's going to be something after that also. What's Zayin? So everyone that's sitting here and listening online and sitting and learning is realizing that Mishatach B'Erev Shabbos, Yechal B'Shabbos, was steht in Chazal. If you prepare yourself this world, you'll have what to do in the next world. If a guy is going to go ahead and just waste his time, he says, okay, I'm retirement now. Shane, I'm done. He doesn't realize that it's coming over and he's not going to have what to do. You know what they say? What's the difference between Gan Eden and Gehenim? No difference. This is just going to be a Gemara and a Standa. The guy that's never sat and learned, never practiced over here, he's going to go bored stiff. But someone comes over here and he practices, even if it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So you'll have what to do in that next Welt. You'll have the enjoyment. It's a nachas to see young people sitting and smiling and sitting and learning. No, it's a punishka pashta zach. And the guest is shakayach is to the Mesadrim, Rabbi Garisman, Rabbi Lowy, the Maschilim, the Nachshainim. It's not poshet. And harving through to come out with shver sugis. And you know, it's like we said the first year, this is the hardest sugis in Shas. Shia and CHAZARA. It's the hardest sugis in Shas. And I'm sitting, finished year already. Throughout this CHAZARA, now comes the summer. Vacation, right? Vacation from vacation, nachat 10 Wochen. And we don't realize we're vacationing, but we have to come up to Eilam Haba. You know, there was a Yid that the Chavetz Chaim said this, the HaRav told him. There was a Yid in his town when the Chavetz Chaim was a child. And he was born in Zettel. Right? It's a kleiner derfelim, standing next to the size of a shoebox. But upon him, and he was a letz a little bit, and he saw that there was going to be a sale in a town far away, sale on cigarettes. The first day it was opening, it was going to be for free, giving out cigarettes for free. So he decided, darf again dorten. How does he get dort? Nicht kein Geld. So he goes, for 2 days, he travels, he walks by his feet, and he goes there, he goes to Zettel, comes back to the town, nach Avach, and they tell him, what happened? He says, I smoked already my cigarettes. They said, you traveled so far for a bunch of nahashkeit, you got nothing from it. You're back here the same man. The Bereshit takes his neshama and he sends it down to this world. He sent it traveling miles and thousands of miles. And we come up, we could sit and say, we rested. Who's the food? It's Galayat Abyssal. If we don't come and realize now, you have to be a chacham and avan. The chaperein, there could be hundreds of people doing the same thing, but people aren't realizing that this is man. That's what everyone over here is zeichet to be doing. Everyone over here is ish navam v'chacham, to realize that it's the anacha welt that we have to answer to. We have to answer to the bench them that we're coming to the Olam Haba. Stand over one ma'aser, there was the Sasav Rebbe, Moshe Leib Misasav. So he once went on a trip, and he comes back, and all his children asking, you know, when a father comes back with the kleine kinder, they went there to Tzal Amal. It was like that today. But Amal, father went there to Tzal. It was a journey, and he came back and he had to buy children things. The the tabletop standards, whatever it was, it said tchotchkes, and Moshe Leib comes back, and he comes back empty-handed. The children are looking in the Renslach, the suitcases. No, well, you came back with anything? And he says, no. And they sit there crying. This is what you went for. You didn't come back with anything. And the same is, we're coming down here. And we have to come back with Peklich Ivan. We come, we sit and learn. You don't realize this chusim. You take it for granted that you hear the share with learning, shainim, achrayim. It's a murder chus that we have. We should be weiter zeicher. Don't give up. The summer's harder months to sit and learn. Don't give up, because this is our schayr. This is our kinyan. Okay, so last week we started with the Akdama on CHAZARA. What the Issa CHAZARA is, when do you have this CHAZARA? And we said a very interesting chiddush, which was already a Ramah, it was a Rashba, it was a Ramah, that says that on Shabbos there's no Issa CHAZARA b'chlal. And the Ramah paskin like this. And we said over the Shulchan, and we went through that. Not dafka that you have to be makbar on Shabbos, but the minhag ha'olam is you have to be makbar on Shabbos. So if you take something off the fire, you have to be makbar to make sure that you want to put it back. You have to have tanoim of how to put it back, which is the gaya many, many times. One very important case is going to be if you leave your oven on for Shabbos. If you leave your oven on for Shabbos, the gaya very much is the 3-day yontif that we said. People left the ovens on Friday night. Many people don't leave the ovens on. But if you leave your oven on for Shabbos, and you go ahead and you want to take out the kugel, and you have the cholent for Shabbos day, but the kugel you have for Friday night. Yeah, you have, okay. So you have like this. You have a pot. You pull out the shelf of the oven, right, to take out your kugel, but you're leaving in there the cholent. So you pulled out the shelf, right, or whatever you left in, and you're putting it back in. Is that called CHAZARA? What did I just do? I didn't lift it. I moved out the rack, and now I'm removing it back in.
Not to mention caterers, they certainly keep the ovens.
Caterers are always doing this. What are they doing? They say they have like those ovens, those warmers. So they go ahead, they take out one, they say, oh, sure, this is for tomorrow, right? This is going to be not for today, this is for tomorrow. They just put it back in without telling anyone, right? They don't want to get caught. So is that okay? There's many, many instances. Now, that gets a little complicated. Let's start with the Pashto Zachem, let's start with the Dinim, and then we'll hopefully get to these cases. The Torah in Simulation Gimel says the first Tanai has to be that when you're putting it back, it's still resachas. What does resachas mean? Bubbling, hot. Has to be hot. As I state in the Torah. Where's the come from? We know in the Bavli, if we saw the Gemara and Amud Beis, no such mention. Where does it come from? It comes from Yerushalmi. Fine. Now, what should be the pshat in this? Why does it have to be hot for? Why does it still have to be hot? So there's a machlokes if the reason is the Mishabur brings it down, starts with the Messiah, but the Mishabur says the reason is because if not, you're chayshish that you're going to be cooking this pot on the fire. You take it off, you put it back on, you're cooking.
It's mavushal called tzarcha.
Shlomo is asking, it's mavushal called tzarcha. The Teretz is, let's learn Pashut. That's a davalach. It's something which is water, juice, and by davalach, even if it's mavushal called tzarcha, you're putting it back on, it's a problem. Where do you have davalach? You think you don't have davalach? Every piece of meat that you keep on the fire is leichos on the bottom. Therefore, there'll be Issa CHAZARA because of davalach and it's mechsi, it's a bishul. So Rabbi Lo is saying that even a yavish, you have mechsi k'mavashal. Good, so this we'll get to. That is it a mechsi k'mavashal or it's mamish bishul. But upon him, therefore, if you take something off the fire, don't hold it that long. Make sure that you are keeping it on, holding it, that it's still resachas. The Bach and the Rambam and others say that the reason why you need it to be hot is because of CHAZARA. And we'll have to explain later on what that means. Now, what is the shear of resachas? What does it mean bubbling? How hot does it have to be to say that it's resachas? The Bach says that it has to be mamish hot, not just enough that it's lukewarm. It has to be hot. Now you have to be very careful because sometimes a shalom pat, maybe not, but a potato kugel, after a few minutes, it lost its heat. So you're this brave person, you're holding on to this potato kugel, and the caterer is taking out slowly, and it lost its resachas. Therefore, Zok the Kavachayim, Yir Hashem, Anshe Maisa, do not take off the pots off the fire. Why? Because it's not going to be boiling hot by the time you put it back on.
They don't put it back.
Take it off and put it back on. Right. They don't do any chazar, Zok the Kavachayim, because they're worried that it's not going to be hot enough when you return it. As I state in the Kavachayim. Lamaisa, it's a big chiddush to say this, but this is how the Bach goes and others, and the Kavachayim's machriya, that no one should be taking the pots off the fire and putting it back because of this chashash. What do we hold? The Magen Avraham says no, that calls man, it's not nischamim, it's not nitztanim, it's okay. That means as long as it's lukewarm, it's okay. The Asif Shlomo Zalman is a beautiful sefer, Ma'er Shabbos. Someone Rabbi Yadla in Eretz Yisrael, Yishleimi Yid, and he's still coming out. He still has some from Shlomo Zalman and Sanka Fisher that were never printed yet. I don't know how he has that, but upon him, he has hundreds of chuvas to Shlomo Zalman. He has 4 chalakim ready, maybe 5 chalakim by now. And over there, he has chalakim, it's many ambitious shir chazara. Most of the 4 chalakim is ambitious. And in the back, he has chuvas that he asked of Shlomo Zalman Shabbos. I spoke to him a few times over the phone. He has unbelievable chuvas. And over there, he asked him Shlomo Zalman, how much heat should I be makpid? What's the heat limit? What is it? So we're going with the Magen Avraham, the Chazon Ish goes with that, till the Shmuel. We're makel. It doesn't have to be resach as mamish. So how much? So Shlomo Zalman said like this, Chashvani sheyesh leilech acharoy b'nei adam, k'may shir chachamim. Roy b'nei adam, what a person normally would eat this food. Lukewarm, how hot would you eat a chalent? Most people do not eat cold chalent. That's one of the only foods that you don't eat. People eat cold chicken, cold meat. Chalent, when it's cold, not okay, as far as I know. No? That's one thing that very people don't eat. Even people at an older age are not so makbid on the food anymore. The chalent cold is not okay. Right? The lostnish. Sunday night, your wife takes out chalent right out of the refrigerator, you're not eating that. But in the microwave, einmal, nachamol, zweitemol, dreitemol, it's not okay. You're not eating that thing cold. So what's the gather? So that's that Roy b'nei Adam would still eat it. That's considered that it won't be Issa Chazara. That's what Shlomo Zalman answered him, and that's what we're going to go with.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How did we get rid of the tour of Retachas to go down to the not Nistan Lagamri? What is that based on? It's a mechaber, it's a tour, it's a mechaber. And the Magen Avraham just says, Lein Nistan Lagamri and Kach Nogo Oilam. Where did this come from?
Okay, so that's a very good question. If Shlomo is asking that we just read you, which is coming from Yerushalmi, it's not just a Rishon. Yerushalmi says they need resachas. You need it to be, what does resachas mean? Hot, not just hot, bubbles. That's what resachas means. That means it's piping hot, very hot. And here we go, and we said that pashtus, many Gedolei Acharim say it has to be literally resachas. Kumt, and the Mechaber says that word, and now also Kumt the Magen Avraham. You know what? Let's take away this word resachas. Let's switch it to Lein Stan and Lagamri. How do you do that? We as the Magen Avraham have a license, as we say, to go ahead and switch a word which is coming from. You want to say argues on the Mechaber, so it can happen sometimes. But to argue on a Yerushalmi, Yerushalmi says resachas. The Magen Avraham is working with that Yerushalmi. I have to narrow it down to Nitztanim. That's a very good question.
At least you have Seledes.
Yeah, something. What does this mean? And now we're telling him, Shlomo Zalman says, whenever someone's ready to eat it, which is not even Yad Seledes, chalent that's lukewarm, the guy could think eating it, right? Many people, they put in the chalent, they mix the coleslaw in the chalent. That means they're not eating it that hot, right? They eat it together with other things. So how did we lose the word resachas? That's a very good question. Here in black. No? Darf entweder als Ashar.
Yeah, so the question is, the Lashon of the Yerushalmi that the Rav brings in your booklet is not 100% clear. The Yerushalmi uses the Lashon Pucham.
Right.
Pucham, who knows what that means?
Mefucham.
Pucham, the Stilling Dial.
Mefucham. Yeah.
So we're struggling to find out. And we
So Rabbi Lowy is timing that we made up like this word Sachas Xeris. It's not Xeris. Look in the Yerushalmi. Go figure out. Go get the art scroll Taitra Mefucham, and maybe they found it. Maybe they didn't find it. Maybe they just based it on the Beis Yosef that says that it means Sachas. So it doesn't have to mean. The Magen Avraham maybe thought the translation, maybe explained the translation of Mefucham doesn't mean Sachas. Very good. I got the Shakavatai we have here. I would say a third side. That what's the reason? The Magen Avraham is trying to explain what's the reason that I need Sachas. We're dealing with something that was cooked, right? If it's not cooked, then you over regular bishul da'rais, so there's no tzad to put something back. Therefore, many times a person has to realize that if you take something off the fire early Friday night, make sure that thing's completely cooked, else you'll be over bishul da'rais. You can have all the dinner chazar, you're holding it backwards, but it doesn't help you. Mit ala das, when you're cooking something, you're cooking something. It doesn't help you with das. So that's not going to be the shmuz. The shmuz is that it's already cooked. And you want to know in Dine Bishul, if the thing is Mexican Mavashal, as a din like it's cooked. So then, when the word Risachas was just a borrowed term, really, to know that the thing is already cooked and it didn't lose its chamimus to be cooked. Let's give another example. Soup, chicken soup. You ever drank chicken soup cold? That's also something that you're just not going to drink cold. Even lukewarm. So over there, let's consider, there's a big, we're not getting into that, I don't know when you're going to learn Bishul, but when you learn Bishul, you're going to have to understand what's the difference between Davar Lach and Davar Yavish. Why with Davar Yavish, if you have a piece of potato kugel, we tell you can put it on, that's what we'll come to Rabbi Framwitz. Why when you put it on, why Davar Lach is considered Bishul, Davar Yavish is not considered Bishul. What's the difference? So we're not getting into that. But Akapanim, when we get to Bishul and we discuss that, you'll see that Kol's man, it's not in Stan and Lagami, it doesn't have a Shem Bishul. If it didn't get completely cold, it didn't lose its original Bishul, and therefore the Bishul originally is a dying Kayemes, and therefore you won't be considered that you're cooking it, even by Davar Lach. So therefore, Rabbi Gaddisman Yishayla is a very good Shayla, and we'll have to wait more for Bishul to how to answer that. That Risachas was a borrowed term a little bit, and it was Negei Bishul, and from there we'll get to discussing why, if by Bishul it's not Negei, then that's why it won't be Chazar. So now, what do we paskin? The Mishabur says that the Mishabur in Sif Cotton and Dalit. He brings down when the Mechaber says this dinner of Sachas, Zoktik Mishabur, Prat Ze Einoi Doima L'chol and Eskoim B'Sif Ze. This tonight, that you need Sachas is nothing to do with the other Tanayim. Either Biyada, which we'll get to in a moment, and Daite Lachze. Sachas is the Layatir Chacham Chazar Kiyim Ba'ifin Ze Avazeh Tamu the Kivin Shenistalik Me'Sichasai the Hainu She'ena Yatze Ledes By Yeh By Shuv Issa Bishul. Mishabur is Mekel.
Page 76.
Mishabur is Mekel like the Magen Avraham, and Mishabur tells us that as long as it's Yatze Ledes By, there's no problem of Chazar. Most of the times, you won't have this problem. It's not going to get below Yatze Ledes By. How hot is Yatze Ledes By? What degrees?
160.
Yeah, 160 is a chumrah. You go 110 already. You could be makel on Yatze Ledes By. If there's anything that you touch, you have to move your hand away. That's the literal translation of Yatze Ledes By. You'll be afraid to keep it. Therefore, it's not a problem of Yatze Ledes By, and you would not have to go ahead and be machmer anything more than that. Now, Moshe, in Tshuva, Arachayim Chelik Dalet Simonai and Dalet, that's those Tshuvas written to Rabbi Eider. In Bishul Islam at Aleph, over there Moshe says, the Shayel Rabbi Eider brings in the Magen Avraham, that, and he says, who do you hold like Madas Mar and Shlita Lamaisa? Tshuva, Yesh lahachmer kamogan avron the betzayna nafilu dav yavish asul lahachse. The rak becham tzas mutter beyavish lahachse. How much is it? Sheiroi lecho machmas chamim musa. That you're right to eat. So again, that's not Yatzalah, but that's even less than Yatzalah. Even less than Yatzalah.
Page 121.
As long as you're right to eat it, Zak and Moshe, it's not a problem. So let's now skip this because most of the times you're not. Let's say we'll get to if you need two people. Many times there are two people. One person's holding the pot and one person's taking out. You're not going to be that loser to hold the pot there for half hour until your Rebbitzin goes ahead and decides which piece of potato kernel. It doesn't take that long, right? It takes a minute, 2, 10 minutes max. You're not going to be holding it that long. So therefore, let's not deal with this problem. We'll say that we never have this problem of Visachas, and let's move on to the next issue, next Tanai, what you need, B'Shas Chazar.
Wow.
No?
Big cooler.
A bit cooler, but we're going to be making, and always, we know already, with a little bit Talmidei Chacham, and we know a little bit last week's Ramah that says B'chlal on Shabbos. So we'll always have that in our back pocket and realize that there's a studim to be makel because we'll have the Rashba that says on Shabbos, no, it's Chazar. Again, we're not going to use that, but we know that here you have Moshe, the Gedolei Adar, Paskin, that it's okay. So most of the times, you're not going to have to deal with the problem of Resachas. Now, what do we have to deal with? We saw today Gemara, Lamed Chesam at base. It has to be Oidam Biyadai. Gemara says, Loishanu, Elo She'oidam Biyadai, Aval Anichan, Agabe Karka is awesome.
Do we have the screen sharing today? Then let's put the Gemara on for the island. Okay. Not sure what's happening.
The Gemara, Lamed Chesam at base, says that Oidam Biyadai is mutter, but putting it on Agabe Karka is awesome. Did you ever see anyone put something on Agabe Karka, a pat on the floor? Haven't seen that yet, right? Maybe you go to big caterers and there's no room. They have these huge pots they put on the floor. But us, we don't put pots on the floor.
In the old days, you had dirt floors.
And therefore?
So with your wife would let you take a pot with dirt on the bottom on a keeler, put it back on the keeler.
Oh, okay. Right. Now, the whole kiras look different. I don't know how they lived them all. I don't know what went on over there. Yeah, we can't even go back to Rabin to see exactly what happened. But today with the war, but
It was out in the chutzner anyway, so it wasn't home.
Oh, yeah, he's right. Normally they had like a central oven that they just had the thing. Okay, fine. But
Yeah.
by the bakers, right? That's where they left their pots. So let's start now with this Agabe Karka. Rashi explains over there that the bottle hatmana the esma v'havik matmin lekatchila. What does that mean? It means that right now you're putting the pot on new. Once you put it on the floor, it looks like the pot is over with. You're putting the pot on new. Now, let's explain that a little more. The Levush says that the reason why you put it on the floor, you're giving up on this pot. What does that mean? It means that when someone goes ahead and puts the mushroom, let's be medama to us. You go ahead and you put the pot in the refrigerator. You're not planning on, this is not something that you're putting back on. Right? We don't see, oh, it was on yesterday, you're putting it back on today. It's a new makam completely. The Amal didn't have refrigerators. Where was the cold spot? On the floor, right? Amal, you know that they started preparing ready for Pesach by Chanukah time. What they do? They had, where they stored, they didn't have freezers. So they dug a pit and they put it underneath and it was cold over there, stayed cold. So compare a karka like a refrigerator. That it's a cold place. That's where you stopped and you gave up on the pot. Now the pot is put away. If I want to relight it, reuse it, tomorrow I'll put it back on. But for today, it's over with. So therefore, that's a very, we don't understand these masagim. But that's what you can compare today the karka to our refrigerators. I took extreme, but maybe that's the example to have our refrigerators to the karka. So now we have to understand again what the karka is. Either the pshat is that you're being Mesiach das from this pot. You're not planning on re-putting this on today. You're being Mesiach das pash. Or the pshat is not that you're being Mesiach das. The nakuda is that since you're putting on the karka, it's going to get cold over there. So since it's going to get cold, therefore, I'm removing myself the heat from this pot, and I don't want to have anything to do with it, but it's not just Mesiach Das. Let's try to explain. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Reish Gimel Sif Beis, which we were discussing the whole time, that is one sif on the whole sugi of Chazara. Sif Aleph is the sugi of Shia, Sif Beis is the sugi of Chazara.
Let's go to page 76.
Zok the Shulchan Aruch, Kira she grufa ktuma v'natal agdem Allah Philip the Shabbos. He took it on Shabbos. Mutal achzir kolzman she yisachas v'oida b'yadai puts in v'lohi nicha gabe karka. You didn't put it on the ground. Zok the Magen Avram v'oida b'yadai. The Rabbis Yosef Svile dafke k'shenicha gabe karka osa. The Mechaber didn't write v'oida b'yadai. The Ramah put that in. The Mechaber just writes Hinicha Gabe Karka Osa, which Zok the Magen Avram and Tzivkat and Chav, the Dafke Karka is Osa. But if you put it on a bed or safsel, we'll speak about it. But Eli's asking a very good question. Obviously, we're going to get to that. Is what if you're there alone and you don't have anyone to help you, and you want to take out Shalom? The Bacha comes home 12 o'clock at night, Friday night, and he wants to take out Shalom. There's no one to help him. What's he going to do? What's this guy going to do? We're going to get to that in Mitzvah. So, Zok the Beis Yosef, Zok the Magen Avram, the Shein the Beis Yosef, that Tzvadim hold Dafke al Gabe Karkas Osa. But if you put it al Gabe Mita, a Safsel Shari, fine. Tzvadim have it very easy. You put it on a Mita or a bench, Mutter. Karkas, what's awesome. But we're Bnei Ashkenaz, the Ramah says, it has to be either be other. So it's not just enough, al gabe karka, you're pretty stuck. You have to make sure that it's either be other. Henicha al gabe safsel, it's awesome. And that's a problem. Because any place you're going to want to put it, it's not going to be suffice. It's not going to be good. I need to have it either be other. As I stated in the Ramah. So therefore, we don't have this, we can't go with this mechaber, and we have to continuously be holding the pot.
The Magen Avram adds the words "Halei Kamoshev" with Chila b'Shabbos. Can the Rav explain this to the Eilim? Why the Magen Avram added that?
Yeah. So the Ramah is trying to tell you the reason, because it's not just enough. The Ramah said that you have to be holding it. Why do you have to be holding it? So the Magen Avram went and explained us the reason why a person has to be holding it, because if he's not holding it, if he puts it on not just the karka, if he puts it on the counter, which we'll get to soon, and he goes ahead and lets go. So now when he wants to put it back on the fire, that is a new Nesina. It looks like it was taken off completely. Now he's going out and putting it on Shabbos, a new Nesina. A new Nesina is us. That's the Issa CHAZARA.
Under all circumstances, Gar for Katim is Bashal Kotzar.
It doesn't make a difference. All circumstances. For Shia, that helps. For CHAZARA, that doesn't work. So therefore, if a person goes ahead and puts it back on, if he let go of the pot, Zakter Ma, it's also to put back on this pot. So now, we have to know what it means letting go. We have to know what it means either be other, because that's very important for us. How much do you have to be holding this pot to be considered either be other? And like we're saying, when it comes to the caterers, by mistake they took it out, they dropped it for a second, they put it on the table for a moment, they open it up, they say, oh, this is tomorrow's potato kugel. What should we do? On that we tell you that we have to have either be other, which we're going to see what that means in a moment. So again, the Mischaber, the Svadim have it very easy. They go ahead and Kolzman, it's not on the ground, it's mutter. Let's make extreme again. Kolzman, you didn't put it back in the refrigerator, it's mutter. B'nai Ashkenaz, that's us, we're stuck. We have a mod that we go with that has to be either biyadai. Now we have to understand what does it mean, either biyadai, in order to go ahead and give us a kula how to do the Tanoim of CHAZARA. Okay? That is what we have to work with. That was what we continue on now. Now, no, the Mechaber says very clear that Karkas also. That's the Mechaber. V'lo yinicha gabe karka. Putting on the ground is a problem. So the Mechaber is very clear that putting on the ground is a problem. The only time it's mutter is when you don't put it on the ground. So okay, so let's not deal with the Mechaber, let's deal with the Ramah that gets us back to what we want to know about Oida B'Yada. Now, there's a big machlokes in the Poskim if our countertops have a din like karka. Why is it a machlokes? Because what was karka? What do you think karka was? Karka was a place where they designated, okay, I'm done with the pots. I'm putting it away now and setting aside. Friday night, when you're finished with your pots, either you leave it on the counter, or you put it in the oven. Everyone has them in Haggim, right? When the oven went off.
Back to full screen.
What do you do, Rabbi Black?
Are you chilling?
No, Friday night when you finish with the pot. Soup pot.
We don't take it off.
No, but what do you do when your wife serves you soup? Now what do you do with it?
Stays on the countertop.
Stays on the countertop, right? Put in the refrigerator. And if there's nothing left over, leave it on the counter. Depends exactly. OCD, no OCD. But like upon them,
You put it in the sink.
put in the sink. Some people are very fine. So whatever it is. So now, but we came out that some people leave it on the counter, right? If you're lazy, zecher, right? So the counter has been like karka. So today we could be stuck that if you put it on the counter, you're over. I made a whole extreme case of the refrigerator. Forget the refrigerator. You put it on the counter, especially today, many people have stone counters, granite, right? So now you're going to go ahead, you put it there, it's coldish, right? Stone it stays a little bit cold. So therefore, as it like karka, and if you put it on that, even like the mechaber, you have a problem.
It only has one purpose. The countertop is the purpose.
Very good.
Question was?
The question is that that's what we're going to speak about. Is the counter has two purposes. The ground has only one purpose. The ground is definitely putting it away. You put it on the ground, you're putting it away. The counter has two purposes. Sometimes you put it there and you take stuff out of the pot and then you put it back on the fire. Sometimes you put it there to leave it there. That's why it's a machlokes.
Why? In time of Chazal, they didn't have countertops.
So the Gaddisman is saying there was no such thing as countertops in times of Chazal. They had a bed, and that bed was the bedroom, the kitchen, the dining room, the playroom, what else do you have there? Right?
Like Rabbi Yasser's room. Remember Rabbi Yasser's
Yeah,
room?
like if you asked, there was nothing. There was no.
Statement. Yeah.
Everyone, there was nothing else. So therefore, that's why it's a big debate. There's a kavitz called Amatayah that came out many years ago, and they asked the Betziner of the Shilas. What's the halacha of what's going to be the halacha if you put it on the countertop? Zok to the Betziner of as it didn't like karka. So you're all excited that karka is a chazal. Who cares about that today? Countertop's karka. As I Zok to the Betziner of, everyone knows the Betziner of was the Pesach in Bar Park. I remember Weissman telling me once that he got more shadows than Moshe. Moshe lived in the east side. People didn't bother him that much. The Betziner Rav lived in Bar Park. Every minute there was knocking on his door. Yeah. But like upon him, I'm just trying to show that he was from the Gedolei HaPoskim. Everyone knew that in Bar Park was the Betziner Rav and Moshe Bik. Those are the two Gedolei HaPoskim.
Choshev Sefer.
Yeah, the Moshe. You ever watch some of those truvas, you see the way he talks about one thing that I know, the Menashe Klein, he has a truva, he doesn't write his name, but I found it later by Mishnah Halachos. So over there, they're talking about the same shaila, and the shaila was the gabe if your bathroom, if you know what shaila, if your toilet gets stuffed, because you go ahead and use a plunger to fix it on Shabbos, you cannot be massive. The senior of forget the 10 pages. He just knocks him that you're not a plumber. You never saw what a plumber looks like. And he mamish the town. He's going, we all know they were Shafi inside the Betziner Rav and Sayam Moshe. They were very Shafi because they got so many shilas, people just bother them about. Everyone knows the famous shilah to Moshe with what? The Goimel shilah, right?
The what?
The Goimel shilah. No, you don't know? Huh? With the pants, right? He almost got hit. Should he make a bichas Goimel? He said, did you make a Goimel when your wife hung the pants out? Your pants out after the washing machine, right? You could have been in there and you'll be hanging like backwards. No, this famous tshuva. The famous of Moshe Bik. But the most famous of Moshe Bik. That the if and could and should have, that doesn't make you a bichas hagaymo. Right? Okay. So anyways, I'm just trying to bring out that they were the Gedolei HaPoskim. And Moshe Bik was asked this shaila, getting back to us, yeah. And over there, he was asked, does countertops have to have a din like karka? Zok to the betzina, 100% has din like karka. Because today we leave pots on the countertop, and if we're lazy, we don't clean it right away. After supper, many times you come home, your wife's tired that night, you're tired, whoever cleans it in the kitchen, and you leave the pots on the counter. The next morning you'll clean it. What does that mean? Because the countertop is a place to store your pots sometimes. So therefore, zok to the betzina, that is din like karka. Ravavna, same halacha, says that as din like karka. So therefore, you'll have a problem. Now, very interesting. They asked this shaila, the same person, this Ma'ar Shabbos. Again, I can't test him because we can't testify. Whoever he's bringing today is not living anymore. He's bringing Sayanka Fishers, Ksisvi others, and he's bringing the Shlomo Zalman. So we can't testify 100%. But he's Ish Naman, and he asked him Sayanka Fisher, what's the halacha with countertops? Guess what Sayanka Fisher answered him? I don't know what your question is. We go with the Rashba, we go with the Ramah. There's no problem with Chazar on Shabbos. So don't give me your countertops, your karka, your this, your that. Our last week's shmooze, there's no problem. So Yankee Fisher was practical. We go with the Ramah, no Gulahaka. Why ask me such a question?
You mean we go with the Ran?
The Ran, right? The Ran that we spoke about last week.
Even though the Ramah here is machmer.
Yeah, the other. So either Ramah is machmer.
Yeah.
That's a very good question Vigas was asking. We fast forward to last week. That was the Ramah later on. Over here, the Ramah is machmer. Zok, the Paiskim. That over here the Ramah is just explaining in the Mechaber's world. But Anshe Ashkenaz could go with the Ramah, the Ran, that there's no problem b'chlal of Chazar and Shabbos. Okay, we're not going to go with that because then
but we don't use that nuclear bomb,
today.
right?
Huh?
That's a nuclear bomb. We don't
right,
use
that's a nuclear bomb. We won't have what to give share on today, so we can't do that. Right?
Or next week. Yeah.
Right, or next week with no future week. So therefore, we're not going to go with that shmooze. So we'll leave that out. But you always have to know that you have that in your pah. You're a Talmud Chacham already. You know of such a Ramah. Very interesting that people don't know it's a Mefurish Ramah. It's not like it's a Vav and a Aruch HaShulchan somewhere. It's Ramah in the Hilchos CHAZARA. So again, we're not going to work with that again, but I'm just telling you how.
Is not comfortable with that.
What?
Mishabur is not comfortable.
Mishabur is not so comfortable, so therefore we won't be that comfortable just to use that always. Okay, now what we have to discuss is, so we said that countertops, I don't know. It's one of the questions we can't find out now, right?
They said you can't make a berachas again on chum.
Right. How you use the countertop? That's a very good shaila. That's a very good shaila. I don't know your name because I don't think you were here.
The question is, can we use the countertop or not? That's the question.
Okay. So that's a very good shaila. So we're going to come out with some coolest. Well,
Rabbi Parkov mentioned that a counter has a dual purpose, right?
Right. Who said that?
That's on the chat. Parkov from Eretz Yisrael, head of our Eretz Yisrael.
Okay. How do they call that in Eretz Yisrael? Shayish, what?
Shayish
is marble, not marble. They have a good name for it. Shayish.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, and it's on in US. They also Rabbi Gottman, no? Oh no, he asked. No, right. He also asked that the lechayah has a dual purpose. Someone asked, yeah. So it has a dual purpose. The lechayah sometimes yes, sometimes like this. So it's not karka. So Rabbi Gottman answered to you that even karka had a dual purpose. You think the karka would just put away? There were no counters. Them all also. So what do you think they did? The mother put on the karka and she had those cones, next to it. Please don't step wet floor. Don't step next to this karka, right? That's the head over there. Else you'll be everyone flipping over pots over there. So
this one was just asking. Each house is different.
Right. So that's a very good shaila. So now he threw a new shaila.
The question is, are we telling everybody's specific use to their own counter?
Yeah, l'chayr, that's a good shaila. We should be
dependent. Said we go after Rabbi Adam. I don't understand. So what's the
problem? Have a bigger license related to the store? Okay, that's.
He's a Belz Chusid, right?
That's a yichus.
No.
Okay. Oh yeah, we can get us all this fun. Yeah. Of course, the relatives sometimes they charge more to relatives.
He's my main distributor, so let's be nice to him. Okay. We're back to the countertop.
Yeah.
What's the side of countertops?
So what's the side of countertops? And we have to know, it's dependent on every house. If your wife or has OCD, nothing stays on the counter overnight. There's no such thing. You don't leave anything on the countertop. So therefore, is that what? So therefore, it should be that you don't go ahead and when you're putting it on the countertop, it's not something that you're going to keep there. So therefore, it's a shaila. He's asking a good shaila that it should depend on every person. Okay, we're going to get to that. Now, let's get back to Oida Biyada. We know that the Ramah said that you need a das of Oida Biyada. That is very negative to us. What does it mean, Oida Biyada? That you're holding on to it. What does that mean? Oida Biyada. Now, the pashtus, you would say, that you're literally holding on with two hands and it's not leaning on anything. You have someone else holding on to it, you're holding the pat, your wife is taking out of the pat. That's what Oida Biyada means. Oida Biyada means literally holding on to it. That's how you attach the pashtus. But there's a very stark remarkum to say that Oida Biyada, what's the pshat in Oida Biyada? Oida Biyada is something that you're not Masir Das, like we explained. Why can you put it on the countertop? Why can't I put it on the floor? Why can't I put it on someplace where you're not going to put it back? Because my das over there is that I'm not returning it. Kolzman, I'm still holding on to it. At showing that I still have connection to the pat. So if I still have connection to the pat, it doesn't make a difference how much the pat would be without me. As long as I'm holding on to the pat, that shows that I'm not being Masir Das from the pat. So if that shows I'm not being Masir Das from the pat, that's a raya that I'm Daite Lachzer.
Wasn't there a word about
No. Therefore,
So if you put it on the floor also then.
we'll get to that. Oh, 1 second. When you're putting it on the floor, over there will tell you it's too late. You can't say that I'm holding on to it. Just the fact that I'm holding on to the handle, that's going to do a thing, because we see Kla, the Mechaber says floor is out. But any time that we have a Shaila, we have Machlaikas Debetzin Rav and others. What's the halacha with today's Shayish, with today's countertops? We have a Shaila, what's the halacha with today's table? We have a Shaila, whatever you want, any Shaila you can think of. So that will tell you that Oida Biyada was just a gilui where I was standing with this pat. Normally, when you finish with this pat, let's say, your wife takes out soup during the week, she puts it on the counter. Now, she's not holding onto the pot. She's okay with it on the counter. She's taking out the soup from what's on the counter. There's no continuation. So therefore, daita to finish with this pot, not to put it back. But Kolzman, a person goes ahead and puts it on the counter, and he's oida biyadai, which means he's holding on to the handle. Why is he holding on to the handle? What are you holding on to the handle for? Al-Kochach Yudas is that you want to return it. Therefore, we tell you that suffice, because since we have machlokes that a countertop of halal might not be like karka, that would be enough. So we just said a major kula. The Mal, the Welt thinks that the Welt is machmed, that the guy has to be holding the cholent and he's holding it far from him, it gets too hot, and he's all worried, he's holding it with towels and whatnot, and he's worried he's going to spritz on him with his tie. That's not dafka that you have to be done. Now that we see that there's a machlokes, that it might not be like, nothing might be like today's karka, unless maybe refrigerated. But today, nothing has been like karka. So therefore, what I need just is oida biyada to vise, to show that I'm not Masir Das on the pot. As long as I have any riot showing that I'm not Masir Das on the pot, that's enough to show that I'm not going to go ahead and be done with this pot. It's not going to be a Nesina L'Katchila. It's going to be CHAZARA. Yeah, what do you ask, Rabbi Black?
How literal is al-gabi karka if you need some type of a ride? You have a very heavy pot, and the only way you can scoop stuff out, you want to just scoop out some chocolate and put it right back. So the only way to do it is put it on the floor, take off the cover, scoop it out, then put the cover back on.
Okay.
Shiloh was a very
Right.
heavy pot that you can't push and hold in your hand. What about a bigger pot used in the yeshiva or a big used in a catering place? The pot's very big and you're putting it on the karka, not because you're making a siluk, you're putting it on the karka because you push and can't hold it.
Right.
That's
So
a shiloh?
Black is asking a very good shiloh.
Okay.
We just I just narrowed away the whole noise, and I said, Kozman Oida
So
Biyada is
countertop
okay.
is mutter. According to what the Rav just said, a countertop is mutter because it's not a siluk. That's what
Right,
you're
right,
saying.
right, but no. Not just stomach, you have to be holding it. But you're holding it with one hand is enough. That's
Holding
what-
it, it's
let
on the
me explain. I didn't
countertop, and
finish.
you're holding on to the each side.
Right, let me explain. Let's explain it again. Rabbi Lowy, under his breath, just threw his dog, which was a very big memra. He said, one second, we're mixing the yitzis here. We know something about daita lachza, and we know something about oida biyada. We know, so what just happened over here?
We haven't got
Right, I just like shifted because it's getting late, so I just like, I'm trying to finish the blot before we leave here, and I just mixed the yitzis. I put oida biyada, daita lachza, put it into one thing, okay, daita lachza, it's enough. What just happened? What do you mean? But it has to be Oida Biyada. That's a Tanai of Oida Biyada. So how did I shift that into Daita Lachas? So let me reiterate and explain. The reason why I've had the Karkas also. You can't come and like Red Black, just answer your question also. You can't come and say Cheshbainis, oh look at me, I'm really just trying to take out of the pot and it's on the floor. Well, obviously it's too hard, and I'm here alone, and even if I'm not here alone, sometimes it's just too heavy. You're holding a hot shalom pot, it's heavy. So now what should I do? I'm putting it on the counter. I'm putting it on the floor. That doesn't mean I'm stuck. So that's daita lachza. Look, I'm putting it right back. That doesn't work. Because Chazal gave us dinim to what could be done. Karka today is finished. You can't go ahead and say that's my cheshbon. We can't do what everyone's cheshbon is. Karka is finished. And that's going to answer your shayla also. Whatever Chazal told us by Shayish, we can't start saying I'm a person that does put back from the camp, you're a person that doesn't. We can't deal with everyone's cranking, as we say, right? We have to say what Chazal will magdi. What Chazal magdi? Chazal told us karka is also because that's the normal. So finished, over. Shayish, we're mesupik. What is countertops? Okay, so let's see what the Pesachim told us. The Betzin Rav said that isn't like karka. Others said it doesn't have it like karka. Fine. So that's the nicer of now. We want to know now, there's another tonight of Oida Biyada. How weit did the Ramah Mechadish this Issa, this Kiyam of Oida Biyada, how much does that need? So once we're out of the realm, what Chazal told us, we're going to be Machma on Shayish, like we said, the Betzin Rav was Machma of Vosna, and other places can, fine, we'll be Machma on Shayish, on countertops. But now we have what to deal with Oida Biyada. So why did they say Oida Biyada works? What does Oida Biyada? What does Oida Biyada mean? So we explained that Oida Biyada is it Gilui in where my das is, that my das is lahachza. So therefore Oida Biyada, not when it's on the karka, but once I'm already up a step and I'm on a counter or I'm on something which is debatable, then Oida Biyada we're going to be making again. Pashtus Oida Biyada was that we'll get to Yishana. Oida Biyada is that you're holding it literally. And that's where you go to many houses, and every yeshiva bacha that's taking out shalom, his brother is holding it, and one brother is taking out of the pot. That's the best. But we're saying we can't do that. It's hard for us. We're there alone. We want to get a geshmak of shalom. We want to eat something Friday night. So we'll be makel on that. So now there's two malachim to be makel. One is that you'll put it on the countertop, but you'll lean it that if you won't be there, it'll fall. Which means it's going to be, which is pretty scary, but it's the only way that you could do it yourself is that you'll hold it and you'll have it slanty on the countertop, on the edge.
And you do it with your other hand, no?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's a hot pot. Yeah, it's pretty.
Hot pot.
It's a hot pot. It's
No, but
pretty
for Maisa, the weight of the pot is on the counter, no?
Yeah, but you would have that. It's your full. Yeah. That's zichamot. That's not even a shayla because over there
that's no good.
That's good. That's okay.
Oh, that's good.
That's zicha good. Why? Because the same way, I'll give you a random example by Amida, by Shemana Esra. Even though you're leaning on the table, but if it's there and you would be able to stand without it, right? It'll hold your weight. Then Kolzman, if it wouldn't be there, you would fall. That's not good. But if it'll be there and you wouldn't fall, if it wouldn't be there and you wouldn't fall, that's okay. Same thing over here with the pot. The place come on that Kolzman, it's on the counter, but without you, it would not fall. Therefore, without you would fall. That would be completely considered to be other. That everyone agreed that would work. That's how we're being makel today. That as long as as it could be tonight if we continue straight. Yeah. But as long as we go ahead and you're holding it, that without you the pat would fall on the karka, that means that it's completely you. That will be considered Oide Biyade, which is completely mutter. Now, let's even be making more. As long as you're holding it, you're holding the handle. As long as you're holding the handle, I know that they're machmirim, but we're going to be makel. As long as you're holding the handle, even if it's completely on the counter, as long as you're holding the handle, that's considered Oide Biyade. I wouldn't be makel on the ground with this, but since Shayish is Bechlal, countertop is Machleik is Bechlal, so therefore, if you're holding it, that's a vise that I'm still Daiter Lachza, and my Oide Biyade is showing me that I still connected to this pat. You don't normally just hold on to a pat. Why are you holding on to the pat? That shows that the connection is still, it's not going to be in a sin like a tchila. Therefore, we would be makel. Yes.
What's the
This was
question?
touching and holding, yes. Yes.
The question was whether touching and holding is the same.
The way we're saying it now, yes, we're going to be makel, and
So if somebody put it down, I know this is a second level question,
Yeah.
and he walked away, but he was holding it, then you put your finger on it, that's good?
I wouldn't say finger is anything.
He said
Fingers-
touching.
Touching meant holding the handle.
But what, touching and holding is the same thing. No, but you asked the question whether touching
Yeah,
is enough.
Not supporting it. Not supporting it is okay, but just touching it like this and saying that I'm here, I'm still holding it, that's nothing. It has to be that you are holding the handle.
Why is it over the same thing I'm connecting?
Yes, very well, very much connected. Again, I don't have time to go into all those connections. And next week we have to move on to another topic in CHAZARA. But like upon now, once I just want to, we have to discuss very important is this shelf in the oven. And another interesting shayla that was asked by the Shevet HaKahasi was that if you ever took off a pot of the fire, let's talk about a crack pot. You took off you take the pot off the fire, then you take off the cover. And what do you do with the cover? You turn it over and you look at it, you see streams of water, right? Steam from the steam, but there's water, drips of water on that cover pot. What do? Then you go ahead and you put that, so now that cover, the cover, you put it on the side. You can't hold the cover, the pot, and take out shalom at the same time. Right? So now that should be Issa CHAZARA. Not only that, that gets quickly, very quick. That's on the water. You're putting that back on, that gets cool very quickly because it drips. What do? So we're giving a whole share, and the guy's going to walk and put that cover on, and we're stuck.
Can you, 1 second, can you repeat the question again?
Yes.
The Matthias again.
The Matthias is that if you ever took a pot off the crack, you see that you take off the cover. It's a glass cover, and you see driplets of water on that cover. Comes from the steam, whatever it comes from. But like upon them, you go ahead and take that pot, that cover, you put that on the counter, and then you're holding the pot. You're dealing with the pot. You're taking the chalent out of the pot. That cover you're not dealing with. That's gone. Is there a CHAZARA on that cover? Right, that part I'm putting back on the fire. So that's part of the pot. But I'm worried the water driplets in that cover.
Where's the water going to go to?
You're going to put it right back on the pot and back into the oven.
So the water, what's that? The water is going to cook?
Sure.
So you're worried about Bishul now?
Yeah, CHAZARA. Yeah, Bishul CHAZARA. Whatever. It's in Stana. You ever thought of that shayla? That's a good shayla. What's the answer to that shayla?
It's worse than CHAZARA. It's Bishul. Bishul
Bishul, I'm
is
saying,
CHAZARA
this is it.
Drabanan.
Yeah. What's the answer? Just turn it over the other way and finish. Yeah. Yeah, Rabbi Snyder just said.
No, but there are droplets on both sides, could be.
No, it's not on the other side. It's not on the other side. It's only on the inside. Right. Yeah, you can dry it also. That's what he said. You ever saw anyone doing that? So 1 second. If you're going to be busy drying it, you forgot that you left your hands off the pot. So you need a whole yeshiva to take out.
Rabbi say, for those of you on the Zoom, we're all hacking here. The Rav raised a question about the droplets on the top of the pot. So when you put the droplets on the top of the pot, then it's going to cook. It's worse than the chalent itself.
Yeah, the chalent stays hot because it's a huge pot. This thing
It's cooled off.
cooled off in 1 minute. That you'll see. That's my
You take the pot off, it gets cold.
Then answer Rabbi Leibowitz just asked the question, why is it different than chalent? No shaykhs. The child, I'm still holding onto the pat. This guy has left Nebuch alone over here without my wife Chavi because she's staying out. So I need my Heineklach to come and to hold the. So it's a whole.
It's a
by
bonding
then-
for the family.
Right. It's a whole family Chalamoy trip that the Zaidi is taking out Cholent now Friday night. So
Put the
I
cover on
think-
the Kira. Put the cover down on the counter, put it on the Kira.
all right, so the Bekitza, we need 5 people, everyone that was sitting on the couch to come take a trip to the kitchen. So we'll stop here and Mitch, and next week we'll continue. Oh, what did we do? Oh, we just said we didn't leave you. We left you, we didn't leave you hanging. We told you to try it and finish. You're the one to do it. So you just turn it over. One can shake of the pot. So yeah, we don't have a problem with that. But that guy's still holding the challenge pot.
How can you do that? How do you
do you-
shake it while holding the drum bat? That's why you need 10 people.
Yeah. So